Well, good afternoon from Two Happy Children Farm. If you guys followed me through the growing season, growing corn, you might remember that I had talked about my seed firmer issues with my planter, and so I'm going to address that now. And I think it's really important, if any of you guys are using Keaton seed firmers, to think about this problem that I found with them, and maybe go check your own planter. This is the classic old Keaton seed firmer. You would slide it in on both sides like that, and then you screw it together, and then it relied on a wedge here to hold it in position, so it would kind of hug your shank there and keep you firm. What I didn't know was happening, and I don't know how you could know without taking off your opening disc halfway through planting your field, was this shim here, which was held in with a really cheap screw. On two of the rows, the shim had come loose, so essentially the firmer was rotating as much as it wanted to throughout the field and throughout the growing season. So on a couple of my rows, the seed firmers were actually putting in the seed down into the trench, and a couple rows they were just kind of floating, and then my spike closing wheels were grabbing the side walls and sometimes heaving it up, so the seed would be going up. Instead of getting embedded in the bottom of the mud, it would come up and I'd get non-uniform depth. And I think that was my number one problem this year. You'll see on these seed firmers I have Mojo wires, and I think a lot of this damage is just because of that seed firmer was just floating all over the place. So a couple days ago I called Exapta and talked with Leah. She's an expert at these things, and I told her I'm going to get some new seed firmers, and she asked me if I wanted the firmers like I used to have, or if she wanted me to get the new ones that had the quick adaptation. And what I wanted to show you is these new firmers. They've solved that rocking issue by using the pin where your seed tube normally sits anyways. So to put these in, I had to remove my seed tube, and that pin normally goes in that connection there and holds the seed tube in place. Now the seed firmer is reusing that pin, and it's using it as a lever point to hold it in place. So now I'm going to screw this together, but you can see it's going to be firm. And the other big improvement is the seed firmer has a flip tab on it, so it can slide up into the slot like that. And so instead of installing it where you'd have to unscrew this screw and shove like crazy to get it up in there, most of the time I had to take off the opening disc on one side and hand shove it in and then put the seed firmer back together. Now whenever you're done with your seed firmer, you can just go into the field, unsnap it, take it out, put a new one in. So it's a literally 2-second changeover, and this hardware here is much more robust. So I wanted you guys to see that if you're using seed firmers with the classic product here, maybe over winter, you take those out, you might be surprised how many of these have come loose. The more rows you have, the higher chances it has. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like all together. So once you get it all together, this is what it looks like, and it's very nice. I think to remove it, all I have to do is take off a gauge wheel to get my hand in there, and we're good to go. So I'm going to take this out to the field and evaluate it, and what I want to see that seed getting pushed into the mud. And for me it's very critical right now because we're hitting 100 degrees here in Texas, and I'm going to be planting in sweet corn, and we just got enough rain to get moisture down to 2 inches. So it's going to be critical to push that seed in as good as possible. and sweet corn is probably twice as hard to germinate as field corn. It's really touchy, so getting that seed to soil contact is really what it takes. So I'm taking my time. I'm going to redo all these rows, and we'll take it to the field. But again, if you're not using these or you haven't checked yours, take off the opening discs and see what you got. Thanks for watching.